Hello class, we are here for our last discussion on photography masterclass. This presentation is going to be in two parts. First, I'm going to uh, give you the basic composition rules in photography. And then I'm going to show some of my rules that I have learned to use in my photography. So I'll just go very quickly. Tsagaan natin ito. Medyo mahaba pero actually maraming halimbawa. So these rules are of course by the book. Okay, so unahin natin yung part 1. Sinabi mo by the book. Ito yung kung ano yung nakasanayan. Okay? So, let's check. Okay, so one of the most important tools that we have in composition, ang ibig sabihin ng composition class, before you click the shutter, tapos ilalagay mo, di ba? Sisilipin mo doon sa lens, sa okay, viewfinder. So before you hit that shutter, you will have to know how to compose. So yun ang ibig sabihin ng rules of composition. How to compose, how to frame the camera. And these are some of the golden rules. Number one would be the rule of thirds. What does it mean for the rule of thirds? Okay, when you try to look into the frame, you can actually have uh, a division. I-divide mo yung image mo into 1, 2 lines and downwards and 1, 2 lines, okay, vertical and horizontal. And you would find 1, 2, 3, 4 okay, middle intersections. So in the rule of thirds, you can actually position the important elements of your scene along these lines. Ito sa 1, 2, 3. Kung doon mo ilalagay yung subjects mo, yun yung powerful composition. So in this case, you will have the house composed in one of the lower intersections. You could also put it on the other end, like that. So when you try to imagine, and you know, it will be magic. So if you know how to divide your frame mentally and then put your subjects into that line, then you will have a powerful composition. Let the camera do the trick. Okay, so always along that plane. Right? So it doesn't matter actually how big or small your subject is. So if you would compose into any of these areas, it could be the 3 areas, it could be the 2 points, just like the butterflies. It could be a little bit off, if for as long as it goes within near, doesn't have to be exactly perfect. Okay? So the rule that you would have in here would be, so the rule of thirds, you can still crop your image though. So you can always have a composition. So it doesn't actually therefore mean that center is not always the way to go. In fact, another golden rule would be center is dead. Dead center is dangerous. You cannot put your subject always at the center. Okay? Always be the rule of thirds. Off left or off right. And then you can also have leading lines. So let the viewer have leading lines. It could be natural element like this, it could be like that. So the viewer will enter your frame, and when you have something to lead them into your subject, then that is called the leading line or leading lines. Okay. So it's in a way hypnotic. It could be actual, it could be virtual. Okay. It could simply be architectural designs, the patterns, it could be this highway. These are powerful images. Okay, bridges, right? Then you can also have symmetry in patterns. You always have to look for natural or man-made patterns. Could be the stairs, could be zebra prints, architectural designs. So these would actually create some kind of a drama, perspective. So these are yes, repeating lines, leading lines, and then you can have the depth of field. The depth of field would always try to put the sense of space into the viewers. Kasi ang photography, sabi niya flat, 2D lang. Pero when we know how to focus, yung depth of field is acquired through a sense of focus. all others can be blurred. Ibig sabihin, it creates distance. So there's the element of foreground and the background. In this case, the flowers are the foreground and the background, okay, are the mountains. So the depth of field, you always have focus. In this case, the shoes and the rest could disappear into the background. And it creates drama. Okay. So this is actually the spiral. Yeah, you will have another rule that will actually try to the Fibonacci, we'll talk to this when we go to other rules. So it doesn't have always to be the first image. It could be the middle. So you always have which part of the image would you want your viewer to focus, and that is called the depth of field. Sometimes it's automatic by default. The first one, like in this case, the straw. But sometimes you can always actually go for the second. It depends on how you want to tell the story of your frame. So repeating lines, sometimes you get lucky if you want to put everything into perspective and at the same time have a depth of field. Okay, so you let the viewers discover layer by layer, moment by moment, and how they will explore your frame. Parang ganun din yung another way of putting it. So another way of you also have the rule of framing. Okay, like framing is you already have your viewfinder as a frame, but you can also find elements to put a frame. Like in this case, the natural landscape can be your frame. In this case, it could be a window, frame within a frame. Okay. In this case, it's the overcasts, the trees, the leaves actually frame your subject. It could be a cave, it could be an architectural structure. So when you try to frame, it actually tries to reframe. So you call this the frame within the frame style. You know you're looking into your camera, but you can always find something to reframe it. And it can be very powerful or dramatic. It's actually a playful way of framing your subjects. Viewpoint. Before photographing your subject, take time to think as to which angle you would want to look. Would it be the bird's eye view? All right, depends on the kind of story. Okay. In this case, of course, the bird's eye view is powerful. Like when you're looking for smaller, looking down at smaller subjects like this cute one, or you can be as high above, trying to, this one is like the kite's point of view, not the birds, and let the people seemingly look like ants. Okay. Could also work for things like this, mga prenups, perspective, like that. And you want to show the cracked ground, and bird's eye view can be so powerful. Then you're gonna also have the worm's eye view. Here is looking up at the subject. Okay. From the way down below. It could also be the ground. Powerful in chat. And this is common among architectural photography. Skyscrapers. It could also work for flowers. There are other rules that you can actually have. Now I'm now going to jump into my portfolio and try to share with you some of the experiments and rules that I have discovered on my own. So these are just some of my collections. I'm sorry, I don't have enough time to uh, show them, but these are just what I was able to retrieve from my computer. So the rules of composition, it's okay. Sometimes you can break the rules. When you go professional, sometimes you need to break the rules and see what works, but it's risky. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I'm going to show you some of the images that I was able to, I think that works. I broke the rule of center, and the rule of, sometimes they say you have to show the face, but I was able to, I think, create some drama here by, putting the center, the chest as the center. Of course, the chest here is not the subject, it's the tattoo. Okay, I was able to create a contrast, and I don't need to show the face of the guy because I'm only focusing on the chest, the center. This time, the center um, is not deadly because I was able to create some drama there. Of course, it's not a real tattoo. It's made of pentel pens, but if this be a real tattoo, it would be more dramatic. Okay, and we also have the rule of the negative space. Uh, of course, this time, the negative space, I follow the rule, the negative space and the rule of thirds. Negative space is giving your image a time to breathe. And the rule that I broke here is, of course, again, the anatomy of people. Who would ever want to shoot now? Feet. Okay. Actually, the feet is not my subject, and the feet is sometimes, chopping body parts is actually risky. But I hope in this case it works because I wanted to show actually the gong. These are warming up for the panagbenga, the gongs, and what's going on in the ground before the big action. So people warming up, okay, it's the G string. So I thought this kind of works. I was able to observe the rule of negative space and the depth of field, but I broke some rules here. Okay, the chop chop saka. Okay, of course, you can also have some fun with the rules. This is called symmetry. These are two of my favorite models, and they are now professional teachers somewhere overseas. And the rule of symmetry here, um, I was able to create that because these two ladies, I think they're very like sisters. I made them pose in a similar fashion, but still I was able to create the uniqueness in each. So it's just like, you know, uh, the yin and the yang. And of course, these are my two beautiful models, Mom Laurie and Mom Fred, beautiful teachers. Next, the rule of focus. Sometimes you can go off focus. I actually happen to, sometimes it requires risky experiments. So it's a prenup shoot somewhere in Luna with these two amazing couple. It's one of the uh, it's one of the most beautiful couples I work with on set. So we went to the beach, and I just asked my assistant, okay, Mom Michelle, to just throw in water, to actually shower us. It's also very risky. There's no rain actually. I just asked my assistant, okay, uh, to just throw water in us, and I just went shoot, 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 and I set the shutter. Of course, the camera was set on auto mode, and it will go automatically focus on, okay, what's in front of you, and in this case, it's the water. So naging background yung couple, and I just asked them to, touch nose, not exactly like kiss, but touching nose, to of course insinuate, create the drama of kissing. So it happened to be, it created this awesome image, and of course I just did some kind of okay, a narrative there, right? Still working with the same amazing couple. Another golden rule when you try to shoot outdoors is to catch the golden light. The golden light is somewhere between 5 o'clock, okay, before sunset. Okay, during sunset and sunrise, basically. It depends on where you are. So these are the golden light. In the morning before 10 or before actually 9 o'clock, because the image would be soft, hindi siya sharp. And we were able to catch. So there were some elements that I tried to work in here. Sometimes when you do shit, you're actually working with several elements and rules at the same time. So I was working with the golden light, and I was also I found a bush, so I asked the couple to dance, and they really dance with all their heart. and it was like a romantic moment. So I just told them, ignore me, I don't exist. Okay, just I asked the guy to dance with the fiance because it's such a perfect day, beautiful sunset. And I went behind the bush and I framed them with this bush. And I was also working with some filter, and it actually bursts some filters. May konting technical effect dito. Some filters actually burst the sun or any source of light. So in this case, it bursts the sunset and at the same time the reflection of the sun in the water. So you can do your own fun stuff. Okay, and I broke the rule because hindi siya straight, no? Sabi, one, one, one sacred rule when you compose is kailangan straight yung horizon mo. But this time, I was trying to, um, they were dancing. They're supposed to be, swirling in emotion. So I thought that it's okay not to, it's okay. Parang dancing and the world is turning, and they don't give a damn about the world. So I just thought to uh, have a little bit of that, okay, dancing mood. It's okay to tilt the world and the frame a little bit. So here's my beloved Apo and my beautiful niece on their wedding day and baptism at the same time. I was happy working with them because, of course, sometimes you get to be lucky. If you don't know your clients, you have to create a moment. Okay? It's actually hard to work with kids. But this time I was able to get the mom, my nephew, my niece to actually play, okay, with her child, my beautiful Apo. And then, it also takes timing. So when you see that moment, go ahead and shoot. You have to play, you have to create a moment. And I was working with the veil, and there goes that moment I was able to get. And sometimes when you do street photography, going back to the streets, when you work with adults, it's easy to work with adult subjects because when you work, sometimes when they know that you have a camera, you would expect that they anticipate a shot, and it's candid. Uh, Actually, it's not candid because you want to take a candid shot. I wanted to take a candid shot of this beautiful Panagbenga ladies, but she saw it coming. So we have an eye contact, and with the eye contact, she gave me her consent. So I asked her to smile with a gesture. And with that, you gotta be quick on your toes before the smile disappears. She gave me the sun, and I just took my shutter, and I was so lucky. All right. Next, when working with landscapes, you have to be, this is another golden hour. The golden hour is actually closing. This is somewhere in Singapore, and the parks are really beautiful. And this is a Sunday afternoon when people are actually trying to catch the weekend. And sometimes it's a matter of perspective. I tried to make the posts bigger than the people. In reality, it is not, of course. So I was able to get to a spot, to a perspective wherein, I tried to depict in this image that, the Sundays, the weekend is over and tomorrow is Monday and it's back to the weekly grind. And we're trying to savor the remaining moments of Sunday, and people are just, okay, um, trying to enjoy the park. So I emphasized the lamp and the closing light. Okay? To me, it's like a clock. So people are diminished to an ant size. So I was able to get that desired effect. So perspective, you can play with perspective. Sometimes when you're dealing with events photography, so this is a dance sport. I was invited to shoot the dance sport in Baguio. Baguio na po ito. Ganito po kagagaling yung ating mga dancers sa Baguio. And uh, sometimes you get lucky. You have to be ready. You need a powerful lens, or you need to be at the right place, and you just have to shoot fast and furious style because you will actually be shooting fast speed. You have to be, um, this is one of the most difficult events to shoot. In fact, the most difficult because you have to shoot as they dance with the beat. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. So you would actually be missing more moments than shooting more moments. So it requires some technical agility in Fast and Furious, and you have to be at the right place. You need to anticipate where they are, or you have to be mobile. And of course, I have situated myself at the balcony. Pag alam mo na pang malawakan, you need to have an aerial view. You cannot be on the same level because you'll never get the action done. Again, sometimes when things can be overwhelming, post-processing will also do the trick. I'm not an expert post-processor, but when I looked at the original image, there's too much color, there's too much faces, and all we're looking at this is this lady at the center. So I thought color isolation can sometimes work. I was using a simple software, hindi Photoshop. So this is rather a poor attempt to do color isolation. Otherwise, if I would have used Photoshop, the effect would have been more dramatic. Next, street photography, somewhere in Bolinao, during a faculty outing, and I don't feel like, I just feel like wandering and taking some shoes, and I found this boy. Sila yung nagbabangka sa amin. 25 pesos per 30 minutes. And of course, nakakaantig ng damdamin. Sometimes when to be a photographer, you also need to tell stories. And when you see powerful subjects, these boys, ito yung nagdala sa amin, no? Ito yung bangka nila. Imagine, no, sitting in this raft. And we just want to actually have the boy and the kids something to give, para may pambaon sila. We paid them 25 pesos. We paid them extra. They're supposed to be in school, but it's actually a weekend. So the boy's name I remember is Robinson. Robinson ang pangalan niya, and these were like years ago. So there's some subjects will really, really catch your attention. Okay, there's something, sabi ko, napakalungkot naman yung mata ng batang to. Okay, so, and I just asked him to like, lean forward. Some subjects require very little coaching. And he was actually with these kids. Unlike these two kids who were just so happy. Ito naman yung racket nila, nagbebenta sila ng corals for 5 pesos. Of course, it's a sad situation. But I asked them to smile. And so this other kid still has a sun in his smile. I have other pictures, and I said I couldn't take anymore because it's too, sometimes you get to be emotionally, when you want to capture a story. So these kids are selling these corals to us for 5 pesos. Syempre hindi namin kinuha kasi alam namin na bawal, and then we have to educate them, but I just took a photo of them and paid them anyway. So I'm not sure if I paid them, but I think we did. So yun. So to be a photographer, you are a visual storyteller. Pictures speak 1,000 words, they say. And I thought I was able to. Of course, hindi ko masabi na buy this for 5 pesos. But with that image, and there are more, meron pa eh. Hindi ko lang mailagay dito kasi some of the images are already too emotional for me to show. But this one is more or less a happy picture of these two kids selling corals for 5 pesos. I hope by now they have grown and are already successful in life. Okay, so the kids are actually powerful subjects, full of innocence. Smiles are always cosmic. So when you see kids smiling, I was able to, I was so lucky. They were just playing. This is one of the community outreach in Luknab, the faculty community outreach, and kids are playing inside the jeep, and I just said, andun sila sa loob ng jeep. Sometimes you just need a little coaching, and I just said, smile. When they see a camera, they know they smile, and there goes my lucky chance. Sorry. Next, working with pets. Working with pets is another a challenging task because hindi ikaw talaga yung mag-a-adjust. And timing is everything. Timing is everything. Okay? So yun lang, you have to, well, some pets are camera shy and some pets are not. So my pet here, he's lost. He's still missing. Hindi ko alam kung asan siya. Ninakaw po siya. Okay? So sad. But anyway, it's the only picture I have of him. So I hope he's still alive. So with a little bit of props, you can do magic. You just have to let the curiosity of the cute pets work, and you just have to be ready. And sometimes you can also deal with experiments in a dark room. So what I did is to have the lights and candles, smoke. This is called smoke photography, if there's such a thing. So you can do experimentations on light and aperture. I don't know how I did it, but as I said, if you know the rules, light and aperture. Aperture is how fast. Meron yung setting sa camera. Ang problema kasi ngayon lahat ng cellphone, automatic lahat. But when you work with the manual camera, you will have to set the aperture. The aperture is the size of the sensor para malaman mo kung gaano karami, kalaki yung light o kaliit yung light. Yun yung aperture. It's the opening. Okay? The bigger the aperture, mas brighter. The lesser the aperture, mas lesser, so darker. And of course, ang ginamit ko dito is yung lesser aperture para sakto lang yung gusto kong makita dito yung liwanag galing doon sa kandila. And I have to put the speed, the shutter speed of my camera to normal lang para hindi frozen. So the smoke goes milky and smooth. Otherwise, it should be smooth. Okay, working with kids. Sometimes working with kids and parents is also challenging because kids like pets. Okay, hindi sila marunong, hindi sila marunong mag-timing. Ikaw dapat ang mag-timing. So sometimes I get to have some clients who work with the kids, and sometimes it really takes time to see what works. So I said, may kamatis kayo dyan. What do you have? The kid is on the oral stage. They don't have an apple or a fruit. So what they have is a tomato, so big tomato. Sabi ko, it works. So, and nakita ko the kid, on the oral stage really wants to work. Of course, this might be a bizarre way of doing a family portfolio, but in this case, it works for this cute little boy. He's now a grown up. So fireworks, sometimes the trick, this is not perfect. But okay, pagdating ng mga New Year, mga fireworks, December, is actually good to experiment. And the key here is, this will require a lot of technical stuff. So you have to have, kailangan mabilis yung shutter speed mo so that it will freeze. Okay? Malinis. Parang sports photography ito. And you have to be, well, sometimes you can also put it on a setting wherein long shutter speed tapos ika-capture lang niya pag puputok siya. But anyway, since hindi naman kayo professional photographer, the rule in composition that we're trying to do here is when you try to do fireworks, of course, andun pa rin yung rule of thirds, but I don't know. You're shooting blindly because you don't know kung saan puputok. Okay, so this is New Year. I just composed it in a way that, okay, ito yung saan galing yung paputok. Okay? So, kinompose ko siya doon. Kasi alam mo kung saan nagpapaputok yun, that's SM. Overlooking SM and the Melvin Jones. So, SM and Melvin Jones. So, I tried to compose my frame in that area and just went on, again, hindi ito Fast and Furious style. It just went on, okay, chamba na lang yun, chamba. Kasi I was working with a camera that doesn't have the technical requirement that is needed to do amazing fireworks. Uh, hindi masyadong mataas yung specs. But anyway, okay, when doing fireworks, okay, one tip to do is anticipate where the action is coming and keep it clean. Of course, this would have been cleaner after post-processing, but that is a raw shot. Okay, next, another rule that I have in doing street photography, specifically my journeys with the Panagbenga, is to always be on alert. You always, sometimes parang hindi ka nga pwedeng pumikit eh. You are always an observer and you have to have a keen eye on what people are doing. It might need an experience. Of course, there are many photographers, and what might be interesting for me may not be interesting for another photographer. So this guy is fixing the sunflower on his ankle, and I just thought it's cute. It's interesting for a guy to tie, a plastic sunflower. So I did my shot. Anticipate action. Sometimes on events, uh, you have to anticipate action, and sometimes when things are too fussy, you also need a high shutter speed. Of course, this is Karen Navarrete, a local celebrity, and she has a dance company, and the dance she created a troupe. She's actually a UB alumni, and I sent this photo to her, and she's actually very grateful for the shot. So it can require some high-end camera, but at this time I wasn't actually using a high-end camera. Sometimes you just need to know your basic settings. Uh, when you are capturing dance on a stage, you just have to go on sports mode and try to come up with. You don't go automatic. You just have to set your settings, okay, and do the shots before the main shot. I was lucky na na-set ko yung setting ko before she came in. And of course, composition still works. This time, center works. Composing at the center works. Okay, hindi pwede rito yung rule of thirds. Okay, so nag-work naman sa kanya yung center composition. So next, when working with flares, okay, from natural or unnatural, sometimes flares, you have to use, sabi ng rule ng photography, use flares minimally. Kasi it can be a killer or it can be a great success. So I hope in this case, it is not a killer. Me and my model, Ellie, we were walking at John Hay, and it's the morning sun. And there are no special effects. I was just looking at my camera, and then I saw flares. I was so lucky to catch the golden hour, and there was a flare. And everything worked perfectly. The element of um, harmony was there. She was wearing green, and so is the trees, and so is the flare. So the basic RGB lights were there, and uh, the rule of thirds I followed, and the rule of the flares, I broke the rule, but this time it worked. And on the left here, this is actually a post-processing flare. This is an artificial flare. I was trying to show the couple. Uh, this is actually a co-teacher who was pregnant then. The flare represents the life that she carries inside. So I thought that the flare uh, did the trick in symbolizing the kid and the life that was growing, okay, in the mother's womb, and the kid is now the life is now a kid. Okay, malaki na po siyang bata. All right, next, another of the prenups that we did. This cute couple, we did this one, of course, in Burnham. Uh, Sometimes simplicity is best. The couple is now residing in US, and it's a very simple couple, and I used black and white because I thought I tried to capture more on the emotion. When you're doing prenups, you of course maganda yung setting, pero kung minsan mas maganda na, mas powerful na you just focus on their expression, okay, which is of course the smitten smile, the exchange of smiles between the couple. And we just borrowed, hijacked one umbrella kahit na hindi umuulan, just to give a little bit of track. Another rule in black and white. This is pang Halloween ito. This is the blue. Motif niya kasi is creepy Halloween. So, pumunta kami sa Diplomat Hotel. So, sabi ko, this time can we do black and white? Black and white can also be as intense. And because I wanted to create the black and white can also mean um, yung aged. Of course, the this structure is aged and haunted. Uh, I actually captured a ghost, but I was looking for that image. I asked the I asked the client to pose and do a cloth, and what appeared was actually that of a veil of uh, parang madre, abito ng madre, yung nag-form out of the cloth. But anyway, hindi ko na mahanap yun. I was about to show you. Hindi ko na mahanap yun. I have no time to look. So, the place is really haunted. This is the first, and this will be, that's what, first and last ko na mag-shoot. And I will never go back to the Diplomat Hotel again. But anyway, we were able to do a lot of shoots in here, and this particular frame, I thought black and white would be powerful enough to mute yung distraction and just focus on this subject. So, ginawa ko lang pang texture, creepy texture yung background. Another, okay, angle. So this is my angle shot on the same model here. And when I use the angle shot in at the same time, the rule of thirds, this is the stairs you can see, it created drama. So yes, it can be refreshingly dramatic. And another angle shot with the same model is this one. So it's depth of field plus angle shot. So sometimes you can use two elements to give a powerful composition. Sometimes when you're working with elements, lalo na sa nature shoot, sometimes the elements can work against you and sometimes they can work for you. In this case, I find sabi ko, andun yung horse. Of course, we rented the horse, but the horse was very, very cooperative, photogenic, and some elements like the shadow also worked fine. So a little bit of posing here, coaching for my brother and my sister-in-law and their dogs our prenup. Another composition rule that you can do or that I like is keep it simple and clutter-free, especially when I'm working with nature, still life sort of. Keep it simple. Okay. Sometimes in events, um, capturing moments, paparazzi style. Sometimes there are moments that you are not prepared for, and you would just see people, okay, celebrating moments, and you just have to be very quick. Of course, this is a faculty, and we were attending the HRAB, and na-announce na nanalo si Mr. and Miss UB, as I think si Miss UB, yeah, during that time, Miss UB being crowned as Miss HRAB, okay, beating all schools. And we have these two faculty from the IHTM celebrating with Sir Miko, and I was having my camera, and I just said, okay, shoot. There's a moment of celebration that is worth paparazzi. And sometimes capturing moments, you also have to be at the right place. The first one, hindi ko in-expect na ganun yung mangyari. Nakita ko na lang, and then just have to be quick. But this time, everything was planned, and I just said, wait, I have to go and be at the right place. And this one is a little bit coach. So capturing moments can also mean you anticipating it and you being quick on your feet. Then you have to be at the right place at the right time and still following the rule of thirds. Okay, this is landscape photography. Okay. So with that, I think I am done, and there are many more, okay, amazing shoots that you can do, especially when you are done mastering the rules and trying to break the rules. With that, thank you very much for sharing, and I hope you also visit my virtual gallery, the present and the future. And thank you very much.